the Toyota 2 litre diesel D4D engine. Now the first job we're going to do is check our coolant, which I can see is a little bit low, so it's on the low mark there at the bottom, look. The pink glycol coolant I use has a 5-year lifespan, so you don't need to change it every year, and this was actually done last year, so we're not going to do that today. We're not going to drain it out, we're just going to top it up. The coolant I use, I say this is the pink 5-year glycol, and I personally use a 50-50 mix with deionized water. It's probably a little bit on the rich side, a little bit strong, but I don't mind that. I'm confident it gets through winter, no problems here in the UK, and I say it's never an issue in the summer either. So, top off, coolant in, up to your full mark, nice and easy, and that is all you have to do. Just be careful not to do it while it's hot, the engine's hot, otherwise it's pressurised and you can end up getting scalded with squirting hot coolant everywhere. Power steering fluid goes in here. It actually looks high, but it's just because the oil's gone up the side of it, but you've got your high mark and your low mark to fill it up if you needed to. Simple as that. Just pop the oil in the top, but mine is fine, so I'm leaving it. Brake fluid goes up here, look. Just take the top off. The max line is here, the minimum is right down the bottom there, so it looks relatively low, but it's actually not, it's quite high as it is. So I'm just going to give it a little top, and make sure it's just below the max level. Top on, job's a good one. Screen wash goes in this one here. If you want to use a funnel, just take this out, lump there, grab your funnel, the next job we're going to do is an oil change. So we're going to drain the oil and replace the oil filter. Now that is right down the bottom there, so we need to get underneath the car. You may need to jet the car up, but because I live on a slope, I'm going to drive into some blocks which will level the car out for the oil drain, and also means I can get underneath the front of it. Before I put the car up on the blocks, I just want to warm the oil up a little bit. Now if you warm the oil up a little bit, it helps it flow, so it helps it drain out the engine quicker and also more completely. However, you don't want to be warming up to the point where you're burning yourself on the oil or the engine itself while you're doing the work. So I'm just going to turn the engine on for a few minutes just to warm things up a little bit, and that'll be enough. Sometimes living on a hill has its advantages, so we're up on the chocks and it's nice and, well, more or less level. It's actually slightly up in the air at the front, which isn't a problem. I'll show you why in a minute. If you do something like this, make sure you chock the rear wheels so it's not moving anywhere. It's also in gear and the handbrake is on. So yeah, be safe. If you're jacking up, please use axle stands as well. Never trust a jack on its own. Okay, under the car. So at the bottom of the engine here is your oil pan or your sump, and at the back, so towards the back of the car, is the drain plug. You'll need a 14mm spanner or socket to undo that, and you need to catch it in something appropriate. So you're going to need a minimum of 5.9 litres. So this particular engine is supposed to be 5.9. I believe some versions of the D4D are even bigger, they're 6 point something. So you'll need to know how much oil you need in advance depending on which year and engine you've got, and buy the appropriate amount of oil to refill. Also back to the pan and to the front is the oil filter. So just up there, now it's half kind of hidden behind this plastic flap at the front, and there's 3 bolts which we're going to undo and loosen. It won't remove it completely, but it'll allow me to drop it out of the way and just get easier access to the oil filter, and we're going to replace that at the same time. Right, let's get this oil out. Don't lose your sump plug. Right, while that's draining, I'm just going to loosen these 3 bolts at the front. I did give them a little bit of WD-40, they were looking a little bit rusty. You don't really want to be shearing them off if you can avoid it. 3 bolts are off. Just going to fold that down and hold it out of the way with a piece of wood. Get down there, you. Okay, so now we've got access to the oil filter. Make sure you've got plenty of towels ready for this one. We don't want to be covering the new camera. Now, oil filters can be a nightmare sometimes, or, oh my word, or easy peasy. Look at that, that's actually hand tight, as it kind of should be. It shouldn't be over tightened. So we're going to loosen that by hand. It's going to start leaking from the seam here, and we're going to catch it as best we can in an old towel. If it's not hand tight, you may need a strap wrench. You can actually get a proper tool to get on the end as well. It's quite a big one, this. You can get strap wrenches, belt wrenches, all sorts of different ways of getting it off. Fortunately, I just hand tight, so let's get it off. So rather than using a rag and making a really bad video, you might want to just put a catch can or something under there. It's kind of messy to do, but wait for it to finish draining. Now I'm old school, I assume this still applies, so something more modern like this. Get a little oily finger, you want to apply some oil just around the rubber seal on the filter, on the new filter. Just helps it tighten on. And this is where you get a sleeve full. Oh, did well, nothing came out. Okay, when it goes hard, just want to nip it about a quarter of a turn. Oh, a decent nip. Don't go too crazy, and certainly don't use a strap wrench or anything to tighten it on with. By hand is fine, if you've got a decent amount of strength. Job's a good one. While we're waiting for the oil to finish draining, we give it a little bit of copper grease into these because they're looking a bit rusty. Hopefully they'll not seize in future. Ooh, he's tight, I don't like him. Right, on the sump plug is a washer. Often with oil changes, you're supposed to change that when you do the oil change, when you take the sump plug out. It's kind of like a crushable washer that seals. I don't know if this one is or not, and I actually forgot to check, so I haven't replaced it, but I'm sure it'll be fine. Now this is a steel sump, so it's not as critical, but don't go swinging on it. You don't want to strip the thread out. Or get the correct spec first and a torque wrench. Just a little nip, that'll be fine. The great oil debate. Now, I've gone for a 530 C3 low saps fully synthetic oil, which is slightly more expensive than the recommended from Toyota from 20 years ago, the 530 semi-synthetic. And the reason is I've run into trouble in the past with smoke and DPF filters and the particulate filters in Volkswagens, and I assume the Toyota could be the same. I just wasn't sure and I didn't want to take the risk, so I went for the slightly more expensive fully synthetic C3. As I can say, I think the Toyota spec is 530 semi-synthetic, and you can probably get away with that no problem at all if that's what you choose to do. Now if you look at the manufacturers' websites for the different oils, they recommend everything for this vehicle, for this engine, literally from 0 to 40 and then everywhere in between. So crux of the matter, I don't think it's that important. I think the engine will quite happily run on anything. but I've gone as close as I can with a slight upgrade to the original manufacturer's spec. Okay, so we're going to put some oil back in. It goes in here. If you've got a funnel, it does make things easier. The dipstick to check the level is just down here, look, in between the so we'll give this clean first. So I have put 5 litres into the engine. I've had the engine ticking over for 30 seconds just to make sure all the old galleries and everything's primed, and the level looks to be at the bottom fill line, look, if you can see it there. So it looks like the engine is a 5.9 litres as I would advised. So we're going to go get another litre. Just going to put the last 900 in. Now it's quite deceptive if you don't know the volume of oil that should be in your engine, because when you work from the dipstick it doesn't really show you a true figure until the engine's been running. So obviously the oil galleries and the filter and everything else takes a bit of oil, so it looks high, looks far too high until the engine's been running. Again, I'll let it run for 30 seconds. Clean the dipstick. Chuck him back in. Count to 5. And pull it out. Try and get it level straight away so it doesn't run up or down. And the oil level, look, you can see there, is right in the middle of the 2 dots. So 5.9 litres this one is. Burning back in, and we're good to go. Right, at the other side of the engine, we have our boost solenoid. Down below it, you can't quite see, is the EGR valve, and up here is the MAF sensor. I've done a previous video on replacing and cleaning those items, if you want to check out that video. This time, we've got to take off the air filter again and the air box to get to the fuel filter, which is the round thing down here. So air box off again, and we'll do the air filter at the same time. So we press the button in there and give the MAF connector a little push. It can be a little bit tight and awkward. Careful not to jab the screwdriver in your hand. Disconnect the MAF sensor. This should have a Julian, and it seems to be missing, which is a bit strange. To replace that, I need a nice tight seal there. It's quite important. Clips down the side and clip it. And your air box comes off. Air filter comes out. So replacing your air filter literally is as quick as that, but we'll do that when we put things back together again. Get the air box off. There's 3 bolts, 2 inside the box and 1 down the side here. It's just 10mm. I've got an extension on the socket. Make short work of it. 1, 2, 3. Should pull straight out. Okay, the fuel filter canister is that, which is what we're trying to remove, trying to unscrew. Unfortunately, it's kind of hard to get your hands onto to get any leverage behind it to unscrew it. If you had a strap wrench or something, it'd probably be quite easy, but unfortunately I don't. This is kind of in the way with the loom here that runs through, so we're going to remove that. So to remove this is just a couple of 12mm bolts, and to unclip the loom, you just lift that little tab up there, and I believe it should come apart. Soon find out. There we go. Copper grease on them, I think. Nope. That's the strap wrench we needed, eh? God. It actually looks like it's been put on with a strap wrench, that's why. I do not recommend this method at all. Basically, I put a chisel straight through the side of it. That is ridiculous. And I've got an extension bar. It's finally moving. No part of what I've just done can be recommended at all. Total and utter embarrassing bodge. Because I made such a hash of removing the fuel filter, I've been and bought a strap wrench and a chain wrench. I will add a link to the description below should you wish to buy one online, but my recommendation would be support your little local motor factor if you're lucky enough to have one. It'd be a shame if they all disappeared. This strap wrench, cheap as chips, they're about 4 or 5 quid to buy, and the chain wrench was a bit more, that was about 7. If you need a bit more grunt, you will need a ratchet to operate it, however. But yeah, hopefully next time we come to take the fuel filter off, it'll be a quick, easy job. Let's remove this bottom part now, which I'm hoping is going to be a bit easier. I'm going to try and do it without breaking it. It won't be good if it does break. That's moving at least. So that's the kit. I got the new filter. And you get a ring, new one. Don't want to twist the wire, so I'm going to turn the filter. Again, like the oil filter, just help it slide on. Let's give it a few winds because we're going to be screwing it on. And we're just going to tighten it by hand. Once it goes in tight, quarter of a turn or so. Okay, it's gone tight. And hopefully, if I have to take it off again, I won't have the same issue. So everything is now covered in diesel. Just going to wipe it all down. Move the cloth down there. Now before we can use this, we have to prime it. So to do that, you basically push the button down here. It'll move freely and easily. While there's that air in there, you can kind of feel it pumping. And when it's full, it should go hard. There you go, it's getting hard now, so I can't push that at all. Now you're going to leave it for a minute or two. You've got to be pretty patient with this. You tend to find that you tend to get airlocks in there and stuff, and it takes time to work its way through the filter and stuff. So just give it a minute or two and we'll go again, and there'll probably be more air in there to clear. While we're waiting, we'll just put the brackets back on. Attach the loom. Should just click together like so. Alright, let's give it another pump. Yep, it's gone soft again. Not bad though. Right, we'll just give it another minute. Can't see any leaks. So fingers crossed I haven't done any damage with my stupid bodgery. Third tone lucky, still having a pump. Alright, we'll put the airbox on while we're waiting. Nice new air filter on there. Just lock the back of the box on first, push it down, clip, clip. Do not forget to put your MAF sensor on, otherwise you'll get an engine light. I think we'll go at that. Well, the new Jubilee is a bit hurgly, but does the job. I think we're okay for the pump. Let's give it a whirl. All seems pretty happy. Just as a last note, if, like me, you forget to reattach the MAF sensor when you nip out to fetch somebody, you may get an engine warning light. The engine warning light being the one on the bottom right hand corner there. Now if that comes on, what you have to do, then go to your battery, move the panel and disconnect your negative terminal. When you do that, which is a 10mm nut, remove it. You find your ECU will beep for about 5-10 seconds. I left it disconnected for about 30 just to make sure there's no residual charge in there. Then you put it back on, 10mm it back up again. Put your panel back on, and when you start the car you should have cleared all the fault codes and that engine warning light if it's just the MAF sensor. Cheers guys, I hope that helped today. All being well, in the next video we're going to go down there and do some belts. Not looking forward to that one really, but there's a couple of belts to replace which do need doing, so that will probably be the next Toyota video. If you're into gaming, I do have a video gaming channel I run with a friend called Purple Sloth Gaming. I'll put a link to that above or below, and I've also got an art and upcycle channel which I'll link to as well. Cheers guys, hope to see you soon. Bye bye.